But first, we're going to start tonight with a truce in Hillsborough County that's left some parents and teachers scratching their heads. Superintendent Addison Davis announced his district will start the year with just 1 week of e-learning instead of the 4 that they had voted on. After that, kids who wanted to go back to school will now get that chance. The decision caps a long back and forth that included the superintendent making a drive to Tallahassee to plead his case for pushing back in-person learning amid this pandemic. Look, we know it's been a really long process. 10 Tampa Bay's Angelina Salcido walks you how we got to where we are today.
There's just 11 days for parents and teachers to prepare for all students to be online for a week. The first day of school is the 24th. Everyone will start with e-learning.
Students will be engaging online with their students through Canvas with their teachers. And I want to make it very clear that attendance is not optional. It's mandatory.
Fast forward a week, schools will reopen on the 31st. Anyone who signed up for in-person learning will be back in a classroom.
We wish we could have had somewhat of a different outcome, but openly we didn't.
Superintendent Addison Davis says the Department of Education wanted schools to open by the 31st to give parents more choices. But the district's proposed plans kept school online through mid-September. That's why the state threatened to cut $23 million of their funding each month.
It's a lot of money, over $200 million that we could potentially lose in this organization. And, that would openly bankrupt this organization.
Some school board members say they were forced to fall in line with the state's emergency order despite concerns from local infectious disease experts.
The state's threat to withhold potentially hundreds of millions of dollars is nothing short of blackmail.
You cannot operate a school district on any stretch, by any stretch of the means, if you do not have state funding.
The district says the community is ready to welcome kids back to school and protocols are in place in case someone tests positive for COVID-19.
The Department of Health is hiring teams to support the school district specifically. There will be 8 teams that are hired.
We will not be closing down the organization at scale unless the governor comes out and makes that clear.
So now that Hillsborough has a plan in place, teachers are trying to figure out how to navigate this unusual school year. Last night we talked to a teacher who recovered from COVID-19. Carolina Plested didn't think it was safe to go back, but now that the district has made in-person learning official, she's worried that cases will spread in the schools, leading to shutdowns and worse.
I was devastated to hear what had happened because I know that we're just kicking the can further down the road and we're going to eventually end up what's, very similar to what's happening in Georgia right now. So I can see, some of our students that have underlying health conditions, diabetes, obesity, many of them will end up in the hospital if they get this virus. How many more people need to end up in the hospitals or on ventilators or possibly die before we realize that this was a mistake and that school shouldn't be opened right now to face-to-face learning?
And that's from somebody who recovered from this virus, who went through the process of beating COVID-19. What about parents? I know some of you are watching and worried too. District leaders went over a lot of policies today on how they'll work to keep the schools safe that will now reopen sooner than expected. So let's take a deeper dive into their plans if someone on campus does test positive for COVID-19. First, if a Hillsborough County student or teacher tests positive for the virus, they're going to be transferred to e-learning. They will not be allowed back in the building for 10 days from the day the test was given. After that week-and-a-half wait, they can then go back within 24 hours of not having a fever and improved symptoms without medication. Now, in terms of letting parents know, they say they'll get in touch with everyone who was in direct contact with the person who tested positive. Also, they'll clean and sanitize the classroom and other areas where that person was. Look, I know this was a lot to take in. That's why we posted this chart at the top of our 10 Tampa Bay Facebook page. It's a summary of just about everything that we just went over. You can share it with your friends. You can have it there so you can refer to it as well to make sure everybody is in the loop with what's going on in Hillsborough County. And that's just Hillsborough. A lot of school districts having to make their own decisions on safety as well. You can see the start date for all of them on your screen right now. The first to go back is Manatee on Monday.